Welcome to my craft room. While I craft a new series idea today, I'm going to demonstrate using the 7 items I have found to give my makes a vintage flair. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time and your interest. This series is going to be called Forgotten Family Album. I know all families have the odd photo or two that are just mysteries. They're unidentified, like this gentleman here. So I'm putting a fun spin on this and creating a name and a backstory to the photo. Stick around till the end to hear Inky Dink's story. This is Inky Dink. All right, the first item of interest is a tea or coffee dyed page. I'm using this as my base. I've actually did a small clear thread in here and sewed a few together to be my album for now until I make the cover. The next item of interest is bookpage. My great-grandma, she would take newspaper and she would do the walls in her rooms with them. I mean, back then you didn't have wallpaper. If you were kind of on the poorer side, you weren't able to get wallpaper, so they used newspaper and covered the walls. I can't say that it made it any warmer in the room. I don't really think it did. But we're just going to take small little pieces here and put it on the back of our page just to give it a little bit of interest. So it's just not a plain back page. So that ought to be good enough. And I can even rip some down. I don't need it to be totally a wide piece. I wanted skinnier pieces, kind of like this. Okay, now what I'm going to go and do is ink. And that is the next order of interest for a vintage flair is brown inks. Be sure to apply it to the edges of the book page, and this will make it have a nice burnt edge look. So I'm going to do all this and I'll get right back with you. Okay, and I even used the flat of my dauber to give it a little bit more brown in there too. I didn't want it totally white. So we're going to start applying it, and we're going to apply it to mostly the outside edges of our piece, because the inside is going to have Inky Dink. So we're just going to do it kind of like this. You might want to check your pages to make sure there's nothing untoward on the writing. So that doesn't come out at a later date after you've applied them all. I've heard of people doing that. Finding things they didn't want to be on there. So they had to go in and put like an item, little piece of ephemera, something like that on there. Okay. I'm sacrificing my Lost World book here. I used it for an altered book. So I have pieces of the pages and such at hand. Okay, we're going to do one more, and then we're done with that part. I find it easiest just to use some of this glue stick to put it on with, and it holds it really well. Okay, we're done with that. We're done with this. Our next item of interest is a script stamp or old lettering. And I found this to use. And what it is, we're just going to add more interest to our background. And I think I'm going to pick this one right here. Okay, I'm going to use archival ink, potting soil, to color this up. I had to bring my little piece of paper back over here to catch anything that goes over, and I'm going to do just like that. Oh, that was upside down, but it doesn't matter, you can barely read it. How many of you like to ink your items on the edges like this? Leave me a comment and let me know your favorite colors to use. Mine seems to be the dark colors. the browns, the espresso, they seem to get more more reaction to me. I mean, it's a lot of it's your liking. What is your liking for the color? How does it come across to you? Does it give you any emotion or feelings when you see it? That's a lot of the reason you might use something, is it evokes a feeling. And I guess that could be true with anything and everything that's in with our crafting. See, it gives you another layer. That's what you do with your crafting. You're working in layers, and you're wanting it to be unpredictable. That's that's a good word for it. You want everything to be, it's sort of unpredictable, like unplanned out. Okay, I think I like that result. We're going to show you what I've got here so far. And even if I'm upside down in some cases, it doesn't matter. It just, whatever makes you happy. What you like. Alright, so my frame around Inky Dink, I'm making it from this very large item here. It's from Spellbinders, and it's called Elegant Ovals, and it has 4. And I believe I used the next one down to help cut the next layer in, if you can see that. So I also wanted to have a little bit of color on this page, so I went and put this down, and at this little spot here, the lowest spot, I got a circle or oval drawn in there. So I'm able to cut that out. And it's going to go underneath of Inky Dink. Poor little Inky Dink. His is a sad story, as all of them are. But I would like to have some kind of recognition for him. So we have that accomplished. And number 5 is your hands. I've got a little story here for Inky Dink. And what we're going to do is we're going to rip your hands, and ripping the edges of your pages, the edges of your captions, anything like that really, really adds, you know, a vintage feel, because, you know, stuff from that age, it's hard to last to this point in time. It sometimes gets ripped, caught in floorboards and old trunks, all kinds of places that may destroy it. So we are going to do us a little bit more inking to give us that nice burnt edge look, like that. And yeah, and when you rip vellum like this, it really does pick up that ink into that ripped area and really pulls it out. Oh yeah, look at that. I like that. That's really nice and burnt looking. And that's what's happened with a lot of old photos and stuff. It's been lost in fires over where my family came from. All right, our next point of interest is a fingernail file. Now what I want to do is I'm going to cut this down. I only need to cut a little bit more off of it. And this is going to be the piece that's going to hold Inky Dink's caption. I can use that for something later on. And what we're going to do here is we're going to distress it. You want to use a fingernail file, and I might want to get that out of the way, and just start going at it. You can point it inwards like that and dig a little hole. You can just keep roughing it and giving it a distress look. Some people use scissors for this kind of a thing. it just depends on what you would like to use. And you can sand the edges off of pieces that you've inked, and it really will add a lot of age to something when it's got a bunch of dings in it. That's what you see at all the antique stores. You look for the dings, but you hope for not any dings. Oh goodness, this is taking a beating. And what we're going to do, you can see pieces falling right and left. Okay. And what we're going to do next is add, of course, a little bit more ink. Alright, so that's enough of the roughing it up bit. And we're going to add a little bit of this to it. And I'm using, what is that? Ground Espresso. That's kind of my go-to anymore. My vintage photo is a little too light, especially when I want the burnt edge look. So we're going to go with this, and let me experiment and go back in there. Oh yeah, so you could go back over that and just rip a little bit more, because when you put the ink on there, it kind of hides it. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. There we are. Let's bring our items over here and get ready for our next item of interest. Number 7, tea bag. You know how I love my tea bag. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of tea bag to the back of this piece of wood. And it's going to be ripped. So there it goes with was that number 5, your fingers, and ripping. And we're just going to rip down through here and put one layer along the edge of the back of our board. And I don't know. I have a love for a tea bag, and it's always gives me a lot of interest on my page. So I just do like that. I'll cut that here. Go in with another piece down here. And let me get this accomplished, and I'll be right back. Okay, that turned out nice. Can you see the tea bag and how it adds a little bit of flair? Just a little bit to the outside edge. All right, so now we got to get to Inky Dink. And what we're going to do is cut him out of our piece, and we're going to keep the oval and just cut around the oval. The piece wasn't quite big enough to work on my page in my die cut. So, oh, I forgot to put that thing on silent. Please. Oh. I have no clue why I'm forever forgetting to do that. Forgetful. I'm totally forgetful. Alright, so we're almost done with Inky Dink's debut. Alright, there he is. I think I didn't cut quite right on this edge. Go back up through there. There we go. And what we're going to do is glue Inky Dink to his piece. And you see a little bit of the background. I'm going to glue him on first by just doing glue on the top and the bottom of my frame and getting him centered. That's the most important thing. Can you see? Yes, you can see. All right, Inky Dink. Trying to be careful and get him centered. I really would like to know who this little guy is, but he was in another person's family photos that we had went to visit, and they had no clue who he was. But they had so many, you know, photos that were taken professionally, and it's just a shame that these kind of people kind of fall by the wayside and don't have the name written on the back. I had to personally take and try to identify a bunch of my old family photos just by looking at facial features and groupings, because I knew how many children and such they had. So yeah, it's pretty hard on families when they just lose who the people are. It's pretty sad. But we're going to go around the outside edge as much as we can here. I'm not worrying about all them little swirlies because they take some time. And I don't think we need to worry about them. Okay. Inky Dink is getting put near the top up here. And I want to put him a little closer to the outside edge here just because that's the binding. Okay. I didn't get him straight. Let's straighten him. There we go. Alright. Inky Dink is down. Now we're going to do a little bit of, I think I'm going to get a little bit of tape. Okay, two-way tape. I'm going to try this this type of approach because it will show if you glue it, and I don't want that. Now, if it's a little rough edged or something, I think that's fine. That'll add to the look. There we go. I've got one more little piece up here I need to get. I had to go over and get me a different size. Okay, so we got that down. We're going to pull this off. And as I'm gluing it down, I'm going to reveal Inky Dink's story. All right. Ooh, it went down before I wanted it to. I'm going to have to let it lie. Whoopsie. That's okay. I think it landed pretty good. All right. Now we're going to ink or glue the back side of this. And my first page in my Forgotten Family album is almost complete. Okay, the story of Inky Dink. Alright, Inky Dink used a lot of ink. A writer by trade, his fortune was never made, thus causing his future father-in-law to think, and then put up a big stink, stating Inky's future bride would be forbade. The end result, an eternal bachelor maid. I hope you like that. And to see another example of using tea dye bags on a item, check out this video for the ultimate vintage look. Thank you.